You pay for extra police protection, but you're not getting it.
They are definitely falsifying your records.
They're supposed to watch over you, but is a local law enforcement agency ripping you off and covering it up?
They actually lied.
The 11 News Defenders expose them Thursday at 10.
Is a local law enforcement agency ripping off area neighborhoods? The 11 News Defenders have discovered many subdivisions that pay for extra police patrols aren't getting their money's worth. And insiders tell investigative reporter Jeremy Rogowski it's deliberate. Jeremy?
Well, Greg, it's about the need to feel safe. And so Harris County homeowners often band together and pay big bucks to their area constable to hire on extra deputies to patrol their neighborhoods. But we found one prominent precinct appears to be cheating citizens, taking their money and then sometimes altering documents to make it appear like they're getting what they paid for when they're really not. What you're getting
is fraud. It's basically fraud, and I don't understand it. We shouldn't have to police the police.
So which precinct is it, and who is already calling for an independent investigation? The answers are coming up tonight at 10.
Now, this story sounds incredible, but a local law enforcement agency may be ripping you off and in the process risking your safety. And insiders tell the 11 News Defenders that it's not an accident, but a deliberate practice. Jeremy Rogowski joins us now with an investigation that already has citizens and at least one elected official calling for action. Jeremy?
Greg, we're talking about the Harris County Precinct 4 Constable's Office, stretching from 290 to Atascocita and Beltway 8 north to the county line. It's the largest constable office in Harris County and one of the biggest nationwide. And like other agencies, Precinct 4 provides extra deputies to neighborhoods willing to pay extra for them. But we found in some places those citizens were getting shortchanged.
I was shocked. I was in disbelief.
Yolanda Holden can't believe she and her neighbors were getting ripped off.
It's basically fraud, and I don't understand it.
When it comes to the security they're paying for.
We shouldn't have to police the police.
In her case, the Precinct 4 Constable's Office, run by Ron Hickman.
Is the public getting what it deserves?
That is something I'm willing to look into.
What's going on? Many neighborhoods want extra police protection, so they pay for it, signing a contract with their local constable's office to hire on a deputy to patrol their neighborhood. He's supposed to be there 70% of his time, spending the rest outside in the general district. But at Precinct 4, the 11 News Defenders discovered the constable's office may be cheating neighborhoods of their time, their money, and their safety, and directing deputies to cover it up.
Take what we found in Holden's neighborhood, where one extra deputy cost them around $55,000 a year.
It looked like someone took liquid paper and whited it out.
Whited out and altered Precinct 4 records that log how much time deputies spent protecting her neighborhood.
It's very alarming.
Check it out. On this original daily activity sheet, the deputy says he worked 253 minutes or more than 4 hours outside of her area. But after a supervisor reviewed it, the time mysteriously shrank to just 3 minutes, making it look as if he barely left the subdivision. And the same thing happened the next day. 234 minutes away from her neighborhood is cut almost in half to 132. How about 271 minutes down to just 51, or 197 down to 64? And turns out
we had homes broken into.
Holden says during this very same period, many of her neighbors were hit by thieves.
And I always wondered what made them that comfortable to take that many items.
Any cop will tell you police visibility deters crime. Even this cop.
If you don't have police presence in an area,
can things happen?
Can more crimes happen?
Things can happen.
And we found even more examples of citizens getting ripped off, like the Ponderosa neighborhood, where the deputy one month made numerous district runs, 32 hours worth all outside of the Ponderosa neighborhood. But take a look. That district time was never counted. And so the monthly summary given to homeowners shows he spent 0 minutes away from their neighborhood, giving the impression they got more security than they actually did.
Can you see how this possibly would distort reality for a homeowners association?
I can. But until it's brought to my attention so that I could address it appropriately, how am I supposed to know?
It's definitely a slap in their face.
But it would be hard not to know, says this former Precinct 4 employee, because at the constable's office,
it's agency-wide, it's a common practice. They're told in their training that they will be altering the documents.
And in some cases, the general public gets cheated as well. Like when parks deputies, paid for by general tax dollars, are assigned to work private paying contract neighborhoods at the same time. That was the case at these homeowners associations and these municipal utility districts, who also got shortchanged because patrols of parks that were outside of those areas were counted as if they were within the neighborhood.
It is definitely a falsified version of what actually went on.
So how could this happen? Try this email from a precinct sergeant telling a contract deputy, quote, "Do not show any district time when checking the parks."
Deputies that choose not to participate in this falsifying of documents are retaliated against by these same supervisors.
And then there's this deputy constable, who's less cop and more mailman. You heard right. Day after day, this sworn police officer spends most of his time delivering interdepartment mail at Precinct 4. And on these days, he was even ordered to stain the smoking deck and clean the boardwalk at Precinct 4 headquarters.
Why would a police officer be cleaning a sidewalk or staining a deck, sir?
I have no idea.
That deputy was supposed to be patrolling Precinct 4's parks, but turns out one day last July at Meyer Park, neither he nor any other park deputies on duty spent any significant time patrolling here. That evening, a female jogger was dragged into some woods and raped. But the constable says,
If you're implying that it happened because there wasn't coverage there, I can't say that's accurate.
Yet all of the evidence is enough.
The figures didn't jive. They just don't jive.
For one county commissioner, Steve Raddick, to request an independent investigation.
Frankly, I have already called the county attorney.
And if citizens were ripped off, Raddick says,
The county needs to make it right.
I'm open to anything. I'm not trying to hide a thing.
Constable Hickman maintains he's not out to cheat anyone.
There is no nefarious scheme here to distort or defraud these contracts from the amount of coverage.
In a written statement sent after our interview, the constable said using a deputy as mailman is cheaper than a courier service and more secure, like when evidence needs to be moved. Hickman also claims that when deputies were assigned to 2 areas at the same time, it was only a temporary situation. However, the constable does say his own review has already found 5 contracts were shorted on patrol time, adding that his department's record keeping, quote, needs work. Finally, we talked to Precinct 4 Commissioner Jerry Eversole, who oversees those parks in Precinct 4. He told us he will not second-guess how Constable Hickman runs his office and that police response time to parks are adequate. You can read their statements and view many of the documents in our story, all on our website. That's khou.com. I'm Jeremy Rogalski, 11 News Defenders.